Hello everyone. In today's video, we are going to highlight how the King of Morocco Kingdom can be regarded as the Pope of Africa. Yeah. Little weird, but it's true. Since both of them share spiritual and political power. Nobody denies that the Pope, also known as Supreme Pontiff, the Roman Pontiff, the Bishop of Rome, is the most powerful religious leader in the world. But guess who is the second most powerful spiritual leader in the world? Some people may answer King of Saudi Arabia, Mufti of Iran, or the King of Morocco. The later, King of Morocco, shares the most striking common points with the Pope of Vatican. On the one hand, the titles of both leaders are loaded of spiritual connotations. The Pope has many titles, among them is the Vicar of Jesus Christ and Servant of the Servants of God. Similarly, the King of Morocco main title is Amir al-Mu'minin, translated as the Commander of the Believers. Originally referred to Caliph Umar, a companion of the Prophet Muhammad and an early leader of the Muslim community, the designation was also used by subsequent caliphs or religious leaders. Another spiritual title for the King of Morocco is the Protector of the Creed and the Religion. According to Catholic tradition, the papacy is one of the most enduring institutions in the world, and has had a prominent part in world history. The Pope is considered one of the world's most powerful people due to the extensive diplomatic, cultural, and spiritual influence of his position on both 1.3 billion Catholics and those outside the Catholic faith. In the same context, the Moroccan kingdom is the second oldest kingdom in the world after the British Kingdom. Throughout history, the successive dynasties that ruled the Kingdom of Morocco dates back to the 9th century, with the Idrisids dynasty to the actual Alawite dynasty has the same political structure as that of the Vatican City. In both systems, the leader enjoys immense spiritual and political powers. And both leaders, whether the Pope or the Sultan of Morocco, claims to be blessed by God. The actual King of Morocco, for example, Mohammed VI of Morocco, is the 23rd king of the Alawite dynasty, the reign of which started in the middle of the 17th century. Is a descendant of the Alawite offspring. Directly descending from the Prophet of Islam, Sidna Muhammad, via his daughter Lala Fatima Zora. The royal family came to settle in Sijil Massa in the Moroccan south during the 13th century. While it is mandatory for every pope to study deeply the religious syllabus and the Catholic spiritual traditions, the King of Morocco is also required to have a solid knowledge of the Islamic creed and the religious science. As the tradition dictates, the first school that every crown prince of Morocco access is the Quranic school, where they study the Holy Quran, the biography of the Prophet Muhammad, and the philosophy of Islam. At the age of 4, King Hassan II was keen to teach the ex-crown prince, and the actual King of Morocco, Mohammed VI, religious and political education from an early age. While the Pope assumes the responsibility of the spiritual leader of the Catholic Church, the Sultan of Morocco presents himself as the pivotal religious leader of Islam in Africa. From early ages, Morocco sets itself as the Vatican of Africa. Or to put it in the Islamic framework, as the Mecca of Africa. From the early 17th century, the Moroccan Sufis and mystic sects known as the Zawaya has spread over Central and West Africa to promote the position of Morocco as the pioneer of moderate Islam on the continent. The successive sultans of Morocco stressed the role of the Moroccan mystic sects to boost strategic and political relationship with African countries. In the coming videos, I will highlight how Morocco used the power of the Sufi order as a tool to revive the Moroccan soft power in Africa. From early times, the Alawite dynasty kings tend to reinforce the Moroccan models of Islam based on coexistence and moderation. Under the rule of the Alawite, the Moroccan Jewish minority enjoyed a status of respect and religious freedom in the Moroccan community. During the Second World War, Mohammed V, the 19th Sultan of Morocco, and the grandfather of the actual king, refused to deport the Jews of Morocco to the Nazis' concentration camp under the pressures of the French colonizer during Vichy's era. The Sultan simply justifies his decision as the following. The Sultan of Morocco is the chief of the believers. The Sultan is duty-bound to protect all his subjects, believers, whether they are Muslims, Christians, or Jews. In the coming videos, I will discuss in detail the exceptional status of the Jews throughout the Moroccan history. Following 9/11, Morocco invests doubled effort to set the exceptional model of moderate Islam based on global values like coexistence, tolerance, and the peaceful aspects of Islam. In this context, Morocco trained female religious leaders, morchadates. and sponsored foreign imams to study Moroccan Islam at the Imam Training Center in Rabat. Morocco also stresses the religious influence of the Moroccan moderate model in Africa and Europe. Nowadays, dozens of imams and preachers formed in Morocco are actively engaged to teach the principles of the moderate Islams in Europe and in Africa. The objective is to get rid of the extremist version of Islam as dictated by the Salafists and the Wahhabi movements. The Pope of Rome is not the only religious figure who lead congregational rituals. The King of Morocco can also lead congregational prayers, a role played by few Muslim political leaders. In Morocco, Salat al-Istisqa, a religious prayer performed in supplication to Allah for rain. If there is a shortage of water causing drought, low levels of water. Among other religious practices of the King of Morocco, His Majesty is expected to preside the Doros el Hassaniya. That is a series of religious lectures presented by the high scholars of the Islamic community around the world in front of the King of Morocco during the holy month of Ramadan. Since the king is a religious intellectual, he has the right to argue, comment, react and interact with the religious scholars publicly. During the Eid al-Adha, translated as Th Feast of the Sacrifice that honors the ritual of sacrificing a lamb by the Prophet Abraham, as an act of obedience to God's command. The king is the first one to sacrifice the lamb as commander of the believers. To sum it up, both figures are actively engaged to conduct the political scene. Their spiritual stature is coupled with the political power to provide the most influential decisions that affect the political, religious, social and cultural sphere.